My name is Mark McHenry. We're here on a cold morning at Mt Lindesay farm in Denmark, Western Australia. We've got some research on the globe artichoke, which I'm standing next to. We're collaborating with Murdoch University and the Future Food Systems to get some interesting research on the healthy molecules and how we grow better artichokes in terms of the inulin, which is an insoluble fibre that's good for our gut biome, and also other bioactives like polyphenols, which is just like olive oil, one of the healthy molecules that we all want a little bit more in our diet. So one of the projects we're looking at is testing to see if there's an early cultivar or a late cultivar, because we want to harvest for a longer period. So that's a unique conventional farming breeding practice that we thought it was a good idea. It enables us to work over a longer season rather than do everything at once and then try to sell or value add everything at once. It makes more sense to have earlier and later strains of artichoke. And when we went through that process, we found out that the earlier strains and the later strains have very different molecular benefits. So, I mean, particularly the polyphenols, we found that they have the earlier the cultivar, the higher concentration of polyphenols they are. So you can use that in a slightly different way for your foods. And similarly with the later in the season, we end up with a slightly higher inulin content. And there's a lot of other different fibres other than the inulin, it's not just that. So we're finding out the complexity of what's in the plant, and then that enables us to make better decisions around what we do with the harvested product, and also how do we breed a better plant for either high inulin or high polyphenols. And we can just combine that with conventional breeding to go, wow, this one grows really well and we can use it for a totally different thing. So one of the interesting things about polyphenols is a plant with high polyphenols is also pest resistant. So one of the things that we like to do here is grow things organically, and from a practical perspective it just minimises a farmer's inputs. The plant does its own insect repellent, if you like. But interestingly, those insect repellents is functional in our body. So it changes the way our body works in a really healthy way. So the other interesting thing is, how do we use that flavour and colour in a food product that is then attractive for us? So you can customise which strain you use for a different product, and having that data at Murdoch University with Andrew Tilley's PhD, and also the work that Ruey-Leng is doing at the Australian National Phenome Centre, we get a real unprecedented level of detail on each artichoke's capability to provide different molecules and how to use them. Got almost 3 years now worth of data, and it's been so interesting. The level of complexity is just really, really good, and it's enabled a lot of different ways that we can approach harvesting the artichoke. One of the bonuses of Andrew being at the end of his PhD was we've got a couple more years of data, so we know it's not just a one-off. If you look around at the farm, there's all these different strains and these different labels, so we can go back and see from season to season, is this polyphenol or inulin result that we got consistent throughout the years? So you get an idea of how you can plan ahead. It's a perennial plant, so it lasts for years and years. So if you know reliably what the plant's going to do over time, it gives you a really good idea of how to plan ahead. And if we're following one plant and then we can propagate from that unique plant, we've identified in the last couple of years some high inulin lines and some high polyphenol lines. So it really enables us to make interesting decisions when we step back and look at the plant to go, is that a great looking plant? Would I normally pick that? And why would I pick that differently over one that may or may not look exactly the same next to it? But we've got some really solid evidence to look at propagation and how we divide them up. It's usually divided by pups, so it's essentially a little shoot that grows off at the bottom, so it makes the plant quite easy to propagate. And we also collect the seeds to see if the parent plant's true to type to the younglings, if you like. So it's been quite an interesting one. And then we're looking at how you better collaborate with other people to use their skills maybe in the culinary arts to basically challenge people's preconceived ideas of what the artichoke is. So there's beverages, there's foods. Most people look at an artichoke and wonder what to do with it. So people usually need some assistance or a value-added product to really make more use of the health benefits that are in the plant. It's the diversity of foods that we're trying to grow here. We're always trying to grow the healthiest types of foods. It's a really good experience to be able to grow these plants and then harvest them and then eat them. And when we collaborate with the scientists, we really understand the complexity that's going on in our gut biome and our health and all the different things we eat and how they impact our body, whether it's our blood pressure, our sugar, our tolerance, our weight gain, or just our general health with our immune system related to our gut biome. It's such a complex field, and without the ability of measuring that with Ruey-Leng at the Australian National Phenome Centre, we'd really just be guessing. But what's amazing is whether it's the elephant garlic or the yacon or the Jerusalem artichoke or the globe artichoke here, we can really measure exactly what's in them. So it's awesome to have experts who can understand what we're trying to do and collaborating with other people who are like-minded in terms of how do we make products that are yummy, tasty, affordable and get it into more people's diets. So we're trying to work out what's a creative way of making sure we're compliant with all the regulation, all the food labelling, all the processing and quality assurance, but also make something yummy that people want to eat. We're all the way down here, so the challenge is how do we get that to main consumers with food standards? So it needs a lot of collaboration with a lot of really qualified people, and it's really handy to have access to those minds because they really throw up different solutions to problems that you didn't even know existed. So it saves a huge amount of work. So, because we're focused on growing quality food, you just can't do everything as farmers. So collaboration is the only way to do it.